Today, I'll be showing you how my analysis of JP Morgan's latest 2025 retirement data revealed a strategy that could allow you to potentially spend 40% more in retirement. Over my years working with retirees, I've discovered how this latest research contains a surprisingly powerful approach that most advisors just aren't talking about. And that's exactly why I'm making this video for you, to show you what this latest research is and how it can help you significantly increase your retirement spending without adding risk. All right, here is the slide that is showing you how you could spend 40% more at the same level of wealth without increasing risk, right? And here we are. We're looking at 3 cohorts of people, and all of these cohorts have the same level of wealth, the 3 to 5 million total retirement wealth. How are they describing total retirement wealth? Well, it's wealth in a retirement accounts and the present value of future guaranteed income payments. All right, so now the only difference between these 3 cohorts is what percentage of future guaranteed income payments, what percentage of your total retirement wealth does that make up, right? And so for those who it makes up 20 to 40%, well, their median spending is only $95,000 a year. Now compare that to the cohort where their present value of future guaranteed income payments makes up 60 to 80% of their total retirement wealth. Well, they're spending 40% more, $133,000 per year. Now, first, I hear you saying, well, hey, maybe they're spending more because they have more. No. Again, everyone's in the same ballpark of total retirement wealth, right? So in theory, you could see all 3 cohorts spending $133,000 a year. But why is cohort A and cohort B not spending that amount of money? It's because they have less retirement income from their assets, right? And so this is really helping us see that this is a psychological thing. This is not a mathematical sustainability thing. And let me give you 2 crystal clear examples. Okay, I work with 2 couples who are severe underspenders of their wealth based on everything I know about them, everything that they've told me. They do not have goals to die rich. They do not have a goal to die rich, right? Terminal wealth is not important to them. And one of the couples doesn't even have any children to leave it to. And the other couple, though they do have kids, all of their kids are doing fantastically well and are not relying or dependent on an inheritance for their financial success and well-being. And so because of that, both of these couples have told me, hey, I would like to enjoy this money and spend it while I have the health to do so, but I haven't been able to spend it. And even if we go back, and we think about their childhood and who raised them, right? Well, let's think about this, okay? If you are near or in retirement, well, that means that your grandparents probably lived through the Great Depression, and your parents were probably born during the Great Depression, or at least shortly thereafter. And so when you think about the money scripts that they had, that they're passing on to their kids, there is a reason that, the people that have accumulated a lot of wealth tend to be really frugal. They tend to live within their means and save the difference and be patient with compound growth. And so when you have decades of maybe certain money scripts, maybe coming from the Great Depression, but then also decades of being frugal and living within your means and getting that little dopamine hit every time you see your net worth climb, well, it's reasonable to understand why it is so psychologically challenging to reverse that script, to start spending money, to start seeing your net worth decrease and know nothing's wrong. Money is a tool to allow you to do what you want with the people you want to be with, right? That is how you win the money game. Like, the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can align your time and your money with your values and what's actually important to you and start winning the money game. The ones that navigate it best typically have found a purpose to stay active, whether it's service in the community or maybe it's socializing through a new sport like pickleball, or maybe it's whether, staying plugged into a community like church and serving in church. Like I've seen those people navigate it the best, but it's still, even for them, a psychological challenge. Here are some things that I think can be helpful, right? So it's clear here. Back to this chart. The more guaranteed income you have in retirement, the more likely you are to spend this money and actually enjoy the lifestyle that your finances can support. So why are advisors never talking about this, right? Because for some advisors, it's especially if they're an asset under management advisor, well, then if you annuitize any of your money, then they lose assets that they can manage. It's probably not popular, right? They want to hold on to as many assets as possible. But Also, if you only sell annuities, then a lot of times they could be oversold, or maybe you're getting an expensive product and maybe there's a better product, and like that's really not a good solution either. Especially if they're being sold on fear, and you do have terminal wealth goals like a legacy you want to leave behind for children, or then yeah. So there's not a one-size-fits-all solution for financial planning. It is so dependent on people's unique concerns, goals, values, priorities. But let me share a few things, right, that I think are generally helpful to the masses, okay? So based on this, like this is data we cannot deny. The more guaranteed income you have in retirement, the more likely you're going to be able to spend that money and enjoy the lifestyle that your finances can support. So there's probably more ways, but I'm going to break down two simple ways that you can unlock this in your life, right? And this goes back to some other videos that I've done on the retirement income style awareness quadrant, right? And so I'm going to talk about the quadrant of those people who still prioritize optionality, but they like that safety first approach to retirement. And that is the time segmentation quadrant, right? So you can create your own income ladder, right? It's your own bond ladder, and you can have guaranteed income in your retirement and immunize your cash liabilities, right? You can know, hey, if I buy this US Treasury and hold on to it, I know exactly how much money to expect when it matures, right? And so by doing this, you are psychologically separating the rest of your money, your assets, as long-term money, because the market is going up and down every single day. In fact, here's a big mistake a lot of retirees make. They're checking the market every single day, and they're allowing it to impact their mood, right? And the reality is that almost half of the days the market is negative, and nothing is wrong, right? Because even historically, with almost half of the market days being negative, the market has still averaged about 10% a year for US large stock, right? A little bit more for US small cap. So the point that I'm making though is like, hey, if you're checking this every day and it's determining your mood, that's not a good plan, because half of the days you're going to be in a bad mood when literally nothing is wrong, right? In the long-term scheme of things. So anyways, that time segmentation approach, it is so powerful because it allows retirees to compartmentalize their assets for different uses, right? Some people call this asset dedication. You're dedicating the fixed income part of your portfolio to income, right? And so this is a really good approach if you still have a terminal wealth goal, a legacy that you want to leave behind, right? Obviously, maximizing that optionality. You're not necessarily locked into anything. You can still sell individual bonds. You don't have to hold them till maturity. But the idea behind this is that you would hold it to maturity, because then you know exactly how much cash to expect, right? And so you're creating this income stream for you. You're marking your stocks as long-term money so that you can endure the volatility, the inevitable volatility and uncertainty that there is in the markets, in the stock markets. So, all right, that's one strategy. That was one simple strategy. Strategy number two, this is in that second quadrant of the RISA framework, right? This would be for those who prefer a committed approach to retirement income and a safety first approach, right? And this is where an annuity could make sense, especially if you don't have a terminal wealth goal, right? Then annuitizing your money can actually help you maximize your lifetime spending because of the mortality credits of the people who don't live to life expectancy. They're actually like subsidizing your spending, right? So if you did an income ladder, your own bond ladder in the time segmentation quadrant, like you're probably spending, 4 or 5% of your income sustainably, if you're planning for a 30-year retirement. But you could buy an immediate annuity that may be paying you 7 or 8% of the amount that you put into it, right? So more or higher, potentially higher than what you could annuitize yourself through a bond ladder. And it's only because of the pooling of assets, right? Now, the risk or the fear of that is, you buy the immediate annuity and then you get hit by the bus on your way out of the insurance office, right? Okay, yeah, that's a problem. And so that's why we're, kind of the middle ground, something that we've seen work really well is for retirees to cover, obviously don't annuitize all your money, but annuitizing just enough to cover their non-discretionary expenses. So between any annuity income or Social Security income, pension income, right, if you have guaranteed income coming in to cover your non-discretionary expenses, that takes a huge psychological burden off your shoulders, right? No matter what for the rest of your lifetime that you're going to be secure buying your groceries and having a home and transportation, taking, like that takes off a huge lift. It comes down to this. I want to reiterate that it really matters what you want to accomplish with your life and your resources, right? Ask yourself, why is money important to you? And what is your future desired state? Like, how are you wanting to use your time and your money to improve your life, right? What are the things you want to do and who are the people you want to do them with, right? Like, as you get more clarity on that, then it's much easier to kind of fill in the rest of the plan, right? And unfortunately, if you think about the history of my profession, my industry, the history of it is product driven, right? So you talk to somebody that has a product they're trying to sell and they're going to try and fit the story into that product, right? But I think we need to turn that on its head, and we actually need to start with purpose, right? We need to understand like, well, where you're trying to go and why money is important to you and what are your concerns and what are your values, right? And as soon as we understand purpose, now we can begin to craft a plan, and then from the plan we can begin to find the best products that make that plan succeed, that really help you achieve your values and your dreams and your purpose, right? So as you're navigating these complexities and you're talking to professionals in my industry, take a second to reflect, like, hey, are they leading with product or are they leading with purpose? And then from purpose, building the plan, and from the plan, letting the plan dictate and find the best product. Now you've seen how JP Morgan's latest data reveals that psychological income confidence, not just mathematical sustainability, is the key factor in determining whether a retiree actually enjoys the lifestyle that their finances can support. If you'd like a personalized analysis of your retirement readiness, then click the first link in the description below and complete my free questionnaire. After reviewing your answers, I'll send you a personalized video breaking down exactly what you need to do to achieve a secure retirement.